I think most people would agree that Scott McTominay has had some pretty frustrating spells in his career, whether that be as a box-to-box midfielder, or even a holding midfielder for Manchester United, or even at times a centre-back for Scotland. Playing in different positions, Scott McTominay has never seemed to reach that full potential which we all thought he had when he first broke into the team. However, at the weekend we saw something a little bit different. That brace in added time to give Manchester United the win has got everyone asking the question, is Scott McTominay actually a striker, and has he been a striker the whole time? Now, if we take a quick look at his goal record, 14 goals in 149 Premier League games, doesn't scream elite goal scorer. However, we've got to consider he has been playing in a dysfunctional Manchester United team for several years, and like I said already, in some quite deep positions in the side. So I don't actually think it's a bad return, and it's certainly not the best way to judge him. The better way to judge him in terms of if he can be a goal scorer and a proper striker is more on his profile as a player. So let's head over to the tactical board and discuss this. So first things first, what does Scott McTominay have which could make him a striker? Well, I'll tell you what, he's a big physical lad. Physical strength, tall size, he's a big unit, and importantly, he knows how to use his body. Some players are quite big and strong, but never quite seem to utilise their strength in the best way. I wouldn't say that about Scott McTominay. He's very good at using his strength, which could make him a pretty decent target man. Let's say your team's being put under pressure, you need a way out, you send the ball long up towards someone like Scott McTominay. He's got the strength to hold off defenders, the aerial ability to maybe play flick-ons, but importantly the ability to get the ball down and bring others into the game, making him a true target man. Using that then backward passing to bring others into the game, it could make him quite a good striker. So he certainly ticks a box there. Now, perhaps a box he doesn't tick is the pace going the other way in behind the defence. Not really what Scott McTominay offers. Now, he's no slouch, he isn't slow, but he's not exactly going to stretch the defence constantly. Now, due to his work rate, I still think he would try it, but that's not the sort of striker that he would be, so perhaps he doesn't tick that box. However, back to the positives, and a box he does tick is his ball striking in the final third. I've been on record several times saying that I think he is one of the best ball strikers that the Premier League has to offer, and I genuinely stand by that. And also, due to his recent goals for Scotland and also Manchester United, it would suggest he has the movement and kind of that poacher instinct in and around the final third, to make him a striker. And like I've said already, it's mainly Scotland that we've seen this. So let's head over to Once Video Analyzer Pro. It's a brilliant video analysis software which you guys can check out using a link in the description down below if you so wish. I would certainly recommend it. So here he is for Scotland, hitting the ball into the back of the net. Looks like a pretty good goal to me. Now what I want you to do with all of these goals is just remember the goals, because we're going to come back to them. We've got another one here, putting the ball into the back of the net. It's a really good finish for Scotland. We've got another one here. Apologies if this is a little bit slow. My laptop has been struggling recently and borderline dying on me a little bit. But regardless, we continue. Here is another really good goal for Scott McTominay. It's a brilliant finish into the back of the net. And we're going to keep going through them. We've got two more I quickly want to look at if my laptop, like I said, actually lets me. 1 second. Again, apologies, this is so slow. Hopefully I'm trying to get it sorted soon. Again, we've got Scott McTominay in the final third, in the penalty area, putting the ball into the back of the net. And this is making everyone ask, has he been misprofiled the whole time? Is he actually a striker? Well, the profile suggests he could be a striker. The goal catalogue suggests he could be a striker from those finishes that we've seen there for the Scottish national team. Perhaps people are onto something. Perhaps he is a striker. So I thought I would look into his background, because one of the reasons why people feel that he could be a striker is because he played there in the academy. Everyone believes he played as a striker in the academy, and then Jose Mourinho converted him into more of a midfielder because he felt that he needed a physical presence in his side. So I thought I'd do a bit of a background check to actually see if that was true. And it turns out it isn't. He didn't actually play as a striker that much in the academy, which might come as a bit of a surprise. But this is a quote from Dimitri Mitchell on Twitter yesterday. Now, Dimitri Mitchell is a former Manchester United player, came through the academy and played alongside Scott McTominay. And he said he was always a central midfielder growing up, but he got converted to a striker for one season in the under-23s, as we didn't have a striker, but was always viewed as a centre mid from under-9s all the way through. So it's actually a bit of a myth that he was always a striker in the academy. And Scott McTominay has said something similar. As a kid, I was an attacking midfielder, and then I stretched a little bit. I got a little bit too big for that, the little ones in between the lines, but then I was more of a sitting midfield player. But I do like to do both. I like to get into the box and obviously help my teammates defend as well. So perhaps McTominay isn't a striker after all. It's a nice positive start to the video for that first 4 or 5 minutes. This is a striker. But actually, even McTominay himself doesn't think he is a striker, and he never really was a true striker in the academy. Now, that's not to say I don't think he could be a striker, because he definitely has a lot of the attributes which could make him become that, and perhaps we could see him coached into that role. But even if we look at the goals he scored, those goals that we looked at already, even if we look at those a bit deeper, even those aren't two striker goals. So let's have a look at that real quick. Now this for me is going to capture why it's so important to look at goals in more depth. If we looked at all of those finishes earlier in freeze frames, they all look like largely striker goals in and around the final third. But when we break them down a little bit more and kind of rewind the tape a little bit and look earlier in the move, we're going to see that on all of them, Scott McTominay is actually playing deeper and arriving late, not something that a striker does. Go back to the tactical board real quick. Typically for a striker, when the ball is wide and a cross is coming into the box, the striker will be the target man. McTominay looks like he's actually got a target man ahead of him and is actually arriving into these areas a little bit later, suggesting that after all he may not be a striker. So look at it. We've got Scott McTominay highlighted back here and the actual striker here. What we're going to see is that Scott McTominay is more focused on arriving late rather than being the initial presence in the box. The number 9 wins the header. It eventually falls to Scott McTominay, who, as we've seen already in the clip earlier, puts the ball into the back of the net. So in just this still image, it looks like he's a striker, but when we look at the build-up, we see a different picture. It's the same for this next goal as well. If we go over to it, 1 second, again, as always, my laptop is being horrendously slow and really struggling to even function at a basic level, really. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so here we are. Once again, the ball is out wide on the left wing. We can see a striker in the box, but once again, Scott McTominay highlighted is actually arriving from deeper. He isn't starting as the striker. He's getting into the final third and really crashing into the box, and that's a key term which we will come back to in just a second. We're going to keep going through these goals as long as my laptop will let me. It might give up in a second, I'll be honest. So we'll look at just one more goal, actually. Just give it a second to load. Okay, so apologies for the delay there. I'll be honest, I'm having a lot of technical difficulties, and there's a lot going on in terms of around the house. So, we're back. Again, the ball is wide on the left-hand side. We can see the number 9. We can see the striker in the middle, occupying the box and the centre-backs. If we look at our friend Scott McTominay here, he's much deeper. He isn't playing as a striker. So whilst he may be scoring goals at the moment, whether that be for Manchester United or for Scotland, it's not from striker positions, which leads me to the label of more of a box crasher. Now, what is a box crasher? Now, to me, the term box crasher is actually pretty self-explanatory. It's not a case of standing still in the box and being that initial target. It's arriving late and literally crashing into the box, causing a bit of mayhem, causing a little bit of chaos. Frank Lampard, for example, used to be really good at arriving on the edge of the penalty area and putting the ball into the back of the net. Scott McTominay, or a player like Scott McTominay, takes that one step further by actually getting all the way into the box. It's something which Jude Bellingham has done incredibly well at Real Madrid since he moved over there. And I think that is, I think Bellingham's sort of role is actually similar to what Scott McTominay wants to do. Now, I'm not putting him on the same level, let's be realistic here, no offence to McTominay. But it's that sort of role. Not being the main striker, but crashing into these areas and scoring goals. So to answer the question in the thumbnail and the title of the video and everything, and right at the start of the video, is Scott McTominay a striker? I don't actually think so. It's nice to think about, he scored those 2 goals in the 90 plus minutes the other day. It's nice to think about Scott McTominay turning out to be a striker after all this, and playing really well for United and having a great United career. I think he could become a striker with a lot of coaching. I think if he was taught to do certain things and kind of play in a different way, perhaps he could be a striker in the long term in his career. In terms of right now, though, in my opinion, we don't actually have the evidence of him working as a striker. Perhaps more of a second striker or a shadow striker, or again, a box crasher. Someone who isn't going to play as a number 9, but also isn't playing as a midfielder, which kind of drops deep and links to play. You're playing in this role where you're getting up right in support of the striker. So perhaps in a 4-4-2 formation, or a 4-4-1-1, or a 4-4-2 diamond, something like that. That sort of role, I think that's where Scott McTominay is at this moment in time in his career. Now again, could he be a striker? Yes, because he does have a lot of the fundamentals. Like I've said several times, I think he is an excellent striker of the ball, one of the best in the Premier League. His physique is brilliant, his passion is brilliant, all of those things. He could be a striker. But I think just because he's scoring goals recently, it doesn't mean he's going to be a striker or is a striker already. As we've seen, he himself doesn't think that he is a striker, and others who shared academy time with him have also said he wasn't actually ever truly a striker in the academy. That's kind of a bit of a myth based off of one season in the under-23s. So do I think Scott McTominay is a striker? Unfortunately, no. Do I think he's going to play a lot of games up front this season? Again, unfortunately, no. However, do I think he could be very important this season in this new role as a box crasher playing just off of a striker? Absolutely. If you need a goal with 10 minutes to go, put McTominay on the pitch just behind Rasmus Højlund, and suddenly you've really got something to aim for in the middle. Because Rasmus Højlund is this big physical presence, centre-backs kind of get distracted by him, which frees up someone like Scott McTominay to attack the box, and in that way, he is a better attacking threat than someone like Bruno Fernandes, than Mason Mount, than Christian Eriksen, than Hannibal Mejbri, because he offers something a little bit different, by crashing into the box. This isn't a striker, this is a late arriver who could still have a very good Manchester United career if he plays this sort of role. I'm interested to hear what you guys think in the comments down below though, because it's something I've been asked about quite a lot. Can Scott McTominay be a striker? The answer to that is yes. Is he right now? No. And actually the evidence we've seen even suggests no, he's more of a late arriver. But let me know what you think. What do you think he would need to improve in his game to become a striker? What do you think he needs to do to become a starter for Manchester United? And also, what is a tactical structure you could use with Erik ten Hag to get Scott McTominay in the side as that box crasher? Again, let me know all of that in the comments down below. I do apologise that this video has been a little bit disrupted. Like I said, my laptop is working incredibly slow at the moment. There's been a lot of noise with dogs barking and things like that. So it's been very interrupted and very disrupted. So I do apologise for that. I'm also ill, so getting a little bit out of breath. So again, apologies for all of that. But thank you guys for watching. If you've made it to the end of the video, make sure to leave a like. But apart from that, thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.